been one of those crazy weeks for me. I thought it would be a nice, calm week, and I have lots of time to prepare, but I feel like I just rushed to get this all ready at the last minute. So please bear with me. But I think the thing for us to do now is to take in a deep breath, me included, and forget about the past week. Don't think about the next week. Be here in the present. And presently, we're here to celebrate Shabbat. So welcome, everybody. I'm going to be playing two roles tonight. So one of me is going to be rabbi, and the other is going to be accompanist. So please bear with me as I switch from role to role. We are going to start the service with the Hine Matov, which is on page 644 of the big book. I don't know the page in the little book. We have a big book and a little book with different page numbers, so I'll be announcing both. Also, please turn off your cell phone if you have a cell phone. Thank you. Also wanted to mention, we're doing two songs we've never done before, and we just played them once just before, and so I hope they come out okay. I won't tell you which ones they are.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Okay, and now it's time to light the Shabbat candles. And Carol Lee, please come up. That's on page 121 in the big book and page 3 in the little book.
I have to light the candles first.
Read this first.
Okay, okay. As, excuse me, as these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. How about if I give you this and light the candles? How about that? It actually worked. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay. And Ron, would you like to lead us in the Kiddush?
Okay. Hello, hello. Excuse me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh bereshit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Everybody. Kivanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidoshta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha b'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. L'chaim, everyone.
Chaim. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so now we're going to do a Kabbalat Shabbat song. Kabbalat Shabbat is when you do a number of songs if you're doing a very musical service. Our tradition here is to do one song. And the last song in the list of Kabbalat songs is usually Lecha Dodi, which is what we're going to do tonight. Pages 138 in the big book, 20 in the little book, and we're going to do verses 1, 2, 3, and 9.
Did it automatically for you there. Do you play an intro on Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, benet Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala. Is his guitar coming through the main thing? Sorry to stop it. Are you coming through the mains?
I don't know, I can't tell from here.
Can you tell, is his guitar coming out of the main speakers? Okay, I couldn't hear that. Can you just,
Yeah, or maybe turn up in the monitor a little bit.
sorry,
You can't hear it?
I'm not sure if I hear it out of the mains, that's all. Can you hear it out there?
You want to walk out there and listen?
Can you hear? Out there? Okay, I'm getting out, yes, it's okay. Let's do that again. Sorry, thank you. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene Shabbat nekabela la la. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, pene pene Shabbat nekabela. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל חמי אחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מכלם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לה 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 לה, לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קוביצי מתוך חפכה, רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה, והוא יקמול עלייכם לה 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 לה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. We rise and face the entry door to welcome the Sabbath bride. בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה לה לה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה.
Okay. I'm going to read something now. We enter the sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in turn, come into the sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift up our hearts in prayer. We are now going to do the Chatzi Kaddish, page 263 in the big book, 145 in the little book.
יתגדל ויקדש שמי רבה ועלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביום אחרון ובחיי כל בית ישראל בגאולה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלה לעולמי עלמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי דקודשה לעילא ולעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ויאמרו אמן.
Okay, next we are going to actually start the service. The first prayer in the service is the Baruch Hu. It's the official beginning of the service, and if you're able, please rise.
Ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMvorach Le'olam va'ed Le'olam 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 va'ed Ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 la.
Okay, maybe it's easier if I just keep this thing on. Please turn to page 265 in the big book, or 147 or in the little book. Now, the Ma'ariv Aravim is an evening benediction that responds to the ongoing cycle of sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, which is when the Shema is recited. So the Ma'ariv Aravim, since it's the evening now, is called the bringer of evening. And let's read it together in the English on page 265. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Through all things pass, your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. The next page, 266 and 148, is the Avad Olam. The Avad Olam signifies God's love for us.
Ahavat Olam Bet Yisrael Amecha. Sorry, I gotta stop. Sorry, Troy. You're playing it in a 6/8 rhythm. You need to play it in a 4/4 rhythm. Yeah, it's just, this song is way too hard to do in that way. So sorry. Yeah, I know, the previous song was 6/8. It's okay. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, ding, ding, ding. That's it. Okay, thank you. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amecha ahavta Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shokvenu U'kumenu ya'asiyat bechukecha V'nizmak b'divrei Toratecha U'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Ki chem chayenu Ve'orech yameinu Uvahem nege yomam v'layla Nege yomam v'layla Ve'ahavatcha al tasir Mimenu le'olamim Baruch ata Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev amo Yisrael.
Thank you. That could have been a train wreck, so thank you for stopping it. We are now going to do the Shema, so please rise if you're able. It's on page 267 in the big book, 149 in the little book. This one is in 4/4 too.
Perfect.
So I don't have to change my inner clock.
It's fine. Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto le'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
And we'll continue the Shema with Carolee coming up and reading V'Yahavta, which is on page 268 in the big book, 150 in the little book.
Oh, I could have used that one, but that's okay. Thanks. Everybody, please chant with me. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shiftecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochlecha uv'kumecha ukshartam le'od al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beinenecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha laman tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim ani.
We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all. Yet that oneness eludes our grasp as imperfection and evil abound. Before our eyes there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul. When will redemption come? When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves. Long ago we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High. We learned God's presence redeems time and event. So we celebrate this power that makes for freedom. And we celebrate the exodus from Egypt by singing the Micha Mocha, which is on page 270 and 152 in the little book. And please sing along if you can. Try to make it loud in here.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה. זה אלי ענו ואמרו, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. As we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. We are now going to do the Vishamru, which is on page 272 or 154.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובן לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני, את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Okay, it's now time for the central prayer of the service, the Amidah, or as it says on the page, the Tefillah. Tefillah just means prayer. This is Amidah, means a standing prayer, so please rise. Page 273 in the big book, and I don't have the little book here.
155, yeah.
155, thank you.
Adonai, Sefatai, Sefatai tiftach, Ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, Sefatai, Sefatai tiftach, Ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim ve'Koneh HaKol, ve'Zochei Chazdei Avot ve'Imachot, U'mevii Geula livnei v'neihem leman shemo be'achava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Okay, continue praying silently by reading the book through page 285 or following your own inner prayer. Please sit when you're finished. It's traditional at the end of the Amidah to do a song about peace, which we're going to do one.
Peace is a word of the sea and the wind. Peace is a bird who sings as you smile. Peace is the love of a foe as a friend. Peace is the love you bring to a child. Searching for me. You look everywhere except beside you. Searching for you. You look everywhere but not inside you. Peace is a stream from the heart of a man. Peace is a man whose breath is the dawn. Peace is a dawn on a day without end. Peace is the end, like death of the war.
It's now time to think of those in our congregation and our hearts who are undergoing illness or feeling pain. This week's Misha Berach list is Ben Henderson, Rabbi Steve Robbins, Gloria Mangis, Leslie Farris, Pamela Mangis, Judy Richmond, Glika Sarah Bet Devorah Milka Gittel, Vicky Dix, Colton Wayne Whitaker, John Cruz, Mark Feldstein, Dan Strauss, Darlene DeMason, Linda Stroman, Charlene Beck, Eddie Archibek, Dan Hantman, Shmuel Ben Devorah, Regina Richards, Mike Hausago, Robin Mendez. If you have somebody that you're thinking of and would like to say a name, please go ahead when I point to you or put the name in the chat if you're on Zoom. Okay, Raul Camacho, Rabbi Mel Young, Dorothy Odson, David Kurland, Alan Hurwitz, and Alan Gutcher. We are now going to do a Misha Berach called the Prayer for Healing, written by Herzog.
Dear God of our ancestors, dear God of our ancestors, help us renew our faith, help us renew our faith. Grant us a perfect healing. Bring peace to all our days. El na, Rafa na la, Rafa na la nu. El na, Rafa na la, Rafa na la nu. Restore our strength of body, restore our strength of body. Help clarify our minds. Refresh our tired spirits. Rejuvenate our light. El na, Rafana lanu. Elna Rafana la, Rafana lanu. Thank you for all these blessings. Thank you for all these blessings. Throughout our days and nights, throughout our days and nights, we celebrate the journey, this precious gift of life. El na Rafana la, Rafana lanu. Rafana lanu. Elna Rafana la, Rafana lanu. Elna Rafana la, Rafana lanu.
So the Torah portion this week is Chukat Balak. It's actually a double portion, so it's actually two portions together, and that occurs because there's a total of 54 parshot in the Torah, but there's less than 54 weeks in a year, particularly when it's not a leap year. The Jewish calendar is complex, and leap years include a leap month every so often instead of just a leap day. But I'm not going to go into the details of the calendar, but what that means is that a lot happens in this week's double parsha. It's full of change, sin, and redemption, punishments, and mysterious goings-on. So, at this point in the Exodus story, the Israelites are nearing the end of their 40-year journey through the desert, but it's not an uneventful portion of the trek. I'll highlight and discuss some, but not all, of the many things in this parsha. So in the first part of the text, the laws are given about how to use the ashes of a red heifer to purify a person who has had contact with a corpse. A red heifer is a perfectly red cow, which is the color that they are born with. So apparently a cow that retains the perfect color as an adult and has no blemishes on it is a rare thing. A detailed process is described that includes how to slaughter and burn the red heifer. You might ask why a red heifer is needed for this, but the Torah doesn't give a reason. This commandment is thus a chok. A chok means that God has decreed this, and we have no choice but to obey the decree despite possibly not understanding why it was made. There are many commandments in the Torah that are like this, such as the kashrut laws, and people have tried to justify such decrees, but there's often disagreement about the justifications, but there's no disagreement that such a decree is a chok. So next, the story resumes as the people arrive at the desert wilderness of Zin, where Miriam dies. The only mention of her demise, Miriam, who is Moses' sister, the only mention of her demise is the single sentence, Miriam died there and was buried there. In the next line, it's revealed that the well had been providing water for the Israelites, then also dried up. Okay? So Rashi, the 11th century French commentator, noticed that the timing of Miriam's death and the loss of water were correlated. In fact, they're one line after the other. And so he thus presumed that these events were related. So thus the Midrash about Miriam's well was born. The Midrash posits that the well followed the Israelites throughout their journey from Egypt until Miriam's death. So they had this well, Miriam's well, following them throughout the journey. But at this point, water, or the lack of it, becomes a big deal. In fact, water and the lack of it is actually still a big deal now, especially in California. So, what the lack of water did is it caused the people to vehemently complain that they have no water for themselves and their livestock. The leaders of the Israelites, Moses and Aaron, wanted to ask for God's help, and they fall to their faces in front of the tent of meeting, and God appears to them. God tells Moses to gather the people together, and while holding his staff, speak to a rock which will cause it to emit water. Moses doesn't just speak, however, but he also strikes the rock with his staff twice. This does cause the water to gush, although it doesn't bring back the magical well. However, God is apparently upset that Moses and Aaron did not have sufficient faith that God would provide for the people, and he thus tells Moses and Aaron that because of this, they will not live to enter the land of Israel. So this is a very important part of the Torah and a very important part of the story. Now, the rabbis have differing opinions about what Moses did wrong to warrant this severe punishment. Okay? The Torah just tells us this is what has happened. The rabbis, and when I say the rabbis, I mean the rabbis of the Talmud, they discuss these things, and some say it's because he struck the rock instead of just speaking to it. He was commanded to speak to it, instead he struck it. Others believe that's because he lost his temper with the people for complaining too much, caused him to lie down in front of the tent of meeting because of his temper. Another interpretation is that Moses was claiming too much power for himself. Another is that he called the people rebellious when in fact they were just thirsty. But in whatever way you choose to interpret Moses' sin, the result was that he was not able to complete the journey that he had been leading for the past 40 years. So the trek then continues. They arrive at the kingdom of Edom, but the king refuses to let the Israelites pass. So they need to take a different path, and they instead travel around Edom and arrive at Mount Hor. God tells Aaron to take his son Eleazar up the mountain, take off his clothes and give them to Eleazar, and after which he will die. So Aaron, Moses, and Eleazar climb the mountain, and after Aaron's priestly garments are given to Eleazar, Aaron dies. Moses and Eleazar then descend the mountain and return to the people, with Eleazar now becoming the high priest. He took over his father's position. After Aaron dies, the entire house of Israel wept for Aaron for 30 days. Now, this is a different response than what happens after Miriam dies, where there's no mention of any response by the people. A modern commentator, Rabbi Bradley Artson, attributes this to the different ways in which male and female prophets are portrayed in the Torah. Women are generally associated with deeds of love and support, such as providing water and for other needs of the people quietly and in the background, and women are only missed when the support ceases. Men, on the other hand, are shown to engage in flashy, bold deeds and are recognized more publicly both during their lives and after their deaths. This type of misogyny in the Torah has been discussed at length, and the Reform movement has taken steps to address it. For example, we now include the founding mothers in the liturgy, where they was originally just the founding fathers. So we're trying to make some changes to the way we interpret the Torah in this way. I'm pointing this out as an example, however, and although this issue can be discussed at great length, it's not the main point that I'm leading up to in this Devar. But I wanted to let you know about it because it's in the Torah portion. So the journey then continues, but there's a lack of food and water along the route. That rock didn't move with them. And the people once again complain. Thus, the notion that we Jews like to kvetch, which we all know is true, it has its roots in the Torah. The people complain a lot in the Torah. So God isn't happy with this, so he responds by sending venomous snakes that bite and kill many of the Israelites. God tells Moses to make a serpent, attach it to a pole, and whoever looks at it will live. This copper snake was then brought to anyone who was bitten, and if they looked at it, they survived. So the journey then continues, and the Israelites are led to a well. The people sing a song of thanks and repentance, and they call the well a gift. And this song is actually in the Torah. I'm not going to sing it for you. I can't sing. But this song is in the Torah that they sang when they are led to the well. Then the journey continues, and they once again reach an area where the locals forbid them to go. But in this case, maybe all because they have drank from this well and they got this gift from God, they're all full of, fire and vinegar. But they decide to fight, and they're victorious in battle against the Amorites and the people of Bashan, and they capture those lands and they settle in. So it was a little bit of war and a little bit of taking over someone else's land, but it was the Israelites that did it, and that's part of what's in the Torah. So Balak, the king of Moab, who is part of the group that was conquered, he's terrified and disgusted by the Israelites, and he asks one of his people, Balaam, to curse the Israelites so that he can defeat them and drive them out of the region. So after Balaam made 2 attempts to curse the Israelites, God tells him to instead bless the children of Israel. This is one of the stranger parts of the Torah because Balaam is an outsider to the Israelites, but he talks and behaves like an insider, including having direct conversations with God, which is a very rare thing. Now, the blessing that Balaam gives to the Israelites is so moving that it's become part of our morning liturgy. It is Matovu Oalecha Yaakov Mishkanotecha Yisrael. You probably remember that. We usually sing it. The translation is, how fair are your tents, O Jacob, your dwellings, O Israel. Balaam also prophesies about the end of days and the coming of the Moshiach. Now, there's more to this story, including a talking donkey, but I'll leave that for another time. In the final part of this parsha, some of the Israelites begin to consort with the Moabite women and to worship their God. In response to this behavior, God punishes the Israelites with a plague, and this plague kills 24,000 people. It is finally ended after one of the Israelites, Pinchas, who's the son of Eleazar, who was Aaron's son, so he's basically Aaron's grandson, kills a high-ranking Ishmaelite man who was guilty of some of these sins, and also kills his Midianite woman. So more killing. So we have a lot going on in this portion. The Israelites suffer, but then they thrive. They complain, but then their complaints are heeded. They sin, they are punished, and they repent. In other words, life as it is continues on for the Jews. One of the most striking parts of all of this for me is the evolution in the leadership of the Israelites. Miriam and Aaron, who are 2 of the leaders, both die, and Moses is told that he too will die before reaching the promised land. This signals the end of an era as the offspring of the original leaders are taking over leadership of the Israelites. These new leaders also need to adapt and change how they lead the people, as the lives and needs of the Israelites now involve environmental issues, such as the availability of water, political issues, such as fighting to take over an area that they need to pass through, and the Israelites' own behavior also leads to change, as some of them sin and are punished, while others help to lead people away from sin and towards redemption. You could call this part the circle of life, where responsibility and leadership are handed down from one generation to the next, and mistakes are naturally made and remedied along the way as the group adapts and learns from God through their leadership structure. Change in the passing of leadership is also what's happening here at Temple Bethel. Our beloved rabbi of 15 years has retired and will be initiating the search for a permanent replacement soon. Basically, we are planning for the next generation of our spiritual leadership. When I look at our current board of directors, which I am serving on, I see people taking on important roles that are also from a younger generation than me and a younger generation than those that I served with when I first joined the board. Also, for me personally, I've just retired for UCR, where I was faculty for over 30 years, and as well as an administrator, but there's now a new generation of faculty administrators leading the campus. So in Hebrew, we call this Lador Vador, or from generation to generation. I'm also currently chairing our Temple's Vision Committee, which is working to facilitate our evolution from the current generation of members to the generation that we will become over the next 10 years or so. I hope to be able to present and discuss the results of this committee's work to the whole congregation within the next 6 months or so that we can all participate in making this place thrive as an important part of the lives of the next generation of congregants. So watch this space. Shabbat Shalom. We're now going to do an after Devar song called Lador Vador. This is a version by Josh Nelson, which you probably haven't heard before. And this one really features our great, wonderful singer, Morris, here.
We are gifts, and we are blessings. We are history in song. We are hope, and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words, and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. Lador vador nagid God lecha. Lador vador we protect this chain. From generation to generation. Lador vador these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our heart, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part. We are blessed and we are holy. We are children of your way, and the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. Lador vador nagid God lecha. Lador vador we protect this chain. From generation to generation. Lador vador these lips will praise your name. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור we protect this chain. From generation to generation, Lidor Vador, these lips will praise your name.
Thank you. Wonderful job, Morris. Okay, it's now time for our board member, Jason Winston, who's Chair of Religious Practices, to give this week's announcements.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So this is not a, you're not blinking and missing it. I was standing here last week as well, filling in for one person, and now I'm filling in for someone else this week since I happen to be here. So might as well give Jory one thing he's not doing tonight. So just a few things you should know. You probably have heard this before, but just in case. Next week, we will be welcoming Rabbi Phil Cohen for his first Shabbat service with us on Friday, July 7th. The music will be led by Cantor Bob and guests, and we have a plan to try to get more people here with food. So please join us. We will have some wine and cheese and probably some fruit and some non-wine for those who don't drink it. And that'll be starting at 6 p.m. And then we will start the service at 6:30, and then we will have a potluck dinner and dessert after the service. And we have asked if everyone could please try to bring a food item based on your last name, and please to let Susan Tenenbaum in the office know what you're bringing so that we don't have a lot of pasta salad and no main dish. So if you can, if you're A through R last name, we've asked you to bring something for the dinner and S through Z to bring for dessert, but if you have a favorite thing and you're just dying, you know, nobody's going to stop you. We also have asked if people can come and help with setup. Anyone who's able to come by around 5:30 to help with getting tables and chairs and all that set up, that would be wonderful. And of course, anyone who wants to stay to clean up too will always be appreciated. And just a little bit more about Onegs. If you're interested in sponsoring an Oneg for after any of the other Friday night services in July, the dates, the 14th, the 21st, and the 28th, we currently don't have anyone signed up for. So please contact the office to schedule the date and the payment. Oneg sponsorships are $65, and they provide a warm I should have read this before, a warm, inviting environment for us to enjoy catching up with friends after services. And it'll also give you, those of you who come, you know, summer services are not heavily attended, but you'll get a chance to meet Rabbi Cohen and his wife, hopefully, and get to know them a little bit. So we want to make sure we have a joyful environment that encourages people to stay a little bit and talk. And in August, we are going to try doing Onegs on a volunteer basis, potlucks, unless somebody chooses to sponsor. So when it comes around for August, please do bring an item with you for the table so that we will have an actual Oneg with a few options. And tonight's Oneg is sponsored by Ruth Keller in memory of her husband Arnie. Thank you for doing that. Any other announcements that I'm forgetting? Carolee has one. Do you want the mic?
Yeah, she wants the mic. Take the mic so the Zoom people can hear you. No, he can bring it to you.
Thanks. People have been asking, so I might as well say, I'm going to start a Hebrew class, an adult Hebrew class, starting with Aleph Bet, probably in October, right after the holidays. So if anybody now wants to let me know that they want to join, please let me know. Okay, good. So I will make an announcement in the weekly email, as to when we're going to start?
That also reminds me that Cantor Bob is looking for singers for the choir for High Holidays. I think that came out in a separate email this week, but for those who didn't see it, you should contact Bob directly or the office. He's looking to bring the full choir, well, maybe not a full choir, but a large enough choir for our services for the High Holidays this year. All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. One thing I wanted to also mention, we are having this service with the dinner next week to welcome Rabbi Cohn. On August 18th, we are also planning to have an outdoor service, a Shabbat in shorts, that will include a dinner. And more details about that will be forthcoming. The plan is to have the service outdoors and have the Temple Rock Band provide the music for that service. Okay, were there any other announcements? I guess you already asked that. Okay. So the next thing we like to do is we like to acknowledge simchas, happy things that happen to people. So hopefully there are people here that something good happened to them this past week. For myself, I had already alluded to it, but I actually retired. It's my last day being a UCR employee, and tomorrow I am a retiree. It was also our wedding anniversary this past week. So I have some simchas. So see if somebody can, anyone else have something they'd like to say? Ruth. We have to use the microphone so the people on Zoom can hear you.
Yes, I just got the most beautiful pictures from Israel. My youngest grandson, Aaron, went on Birthright, and he had an amazing time. He's still there, and he actually had his second bar mitzvah. He had one here when he was 13. He had another one on Masada, and it was really amazing. And of course, with sharing things with pictures, it was a wonderful, wonderful news that he was able to enjoy in spite of all the things that we read. It's still very important to visit Israel and support it.
Thank you. Any other simchas? Any other good things that happened to anybody?
One of your Yankees pitched a perfect game.
Oh, yes, that's right. Domingo Germán pitched a perfect game, the 24th in history. So that was a simcha for some of us. Okay, is there anybody here who's visiting us for the first time? Okay. Would you like to say hello? Introduce yourself again.
Hello, everyone. My name is Larry. My real name is Lauro, but all my loved ones call me Larry, so you can, whichever you prefer. Thank you for having me, and this has actually been a wonderful experience.
Thank you. Hope to see you again. Anybody else new? Okay. I don't have Rabbi Singer's memory to remember everybody's face, so she always knows who she's not seen before. Okay, so I would like to thank those that helped with the service. I'd like to thank Morris for lending his beautiful voice to tonight's service.
Thank you to Jory for playing two parts tonight.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to thank Cara Lee for the candles and the Viahafta, and Ron for the Kiddush, and Jason for the announcements. And Shia has been doing the tech, doing a wonderful job back there. I don't know if anyone can see him. Thank you, Shia. Much appreciated. We are now going to start the concluding portion of the service. And the next thing is going to be the Aleinu. Mitch and Beth, are you willing to open the Ark for the Aleinu? And when the Ark opens, please rise. The Aleinu can be found in the back cover of the book. Oh, just remember, I'd like to also thank Wendy for doing all her work with the Oneg tonight, and invite everybody to come to the Oneg after the service in the social hall. And thank you, Wendy.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושינתו זו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss and of life and death. Is anybody here in Shiva the first 7 days of mourning, Shaloshim the first 30 days, or the first year of mourning, and would like to say a name? Anyone on Zoom? First year, Sheldon Cohn. First year, Irving Klein. First year for Lita Mintz. First year for David Tanizaki. And Shaloshim, Donna Reynolds. Any other names? Okay. On our yahrzeit list, which is marking the anniversary of their death, we have Arnold Geller, William Marks, Arnold Melman, William Kroll, Evelyn Nathanson, Wolf Sherman, Evelyn Berkowitz, Annette Maines, Harvey Tor Olson, Michelle Goldberg, Oscar Ginsberg, Esther Levy, Reba Berman, Miriam Chernak, and Samuel Hoffman. If you'd like to turn to page 598, and to honor those who have no one to say the Kaddish for them, such as the victims of the Holocaust and others, we all rise as a community and recite the Mourner's Kaddish together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, b'yomad divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayei chon uv'yomei chon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala uv'zman korev v'yimeru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach li'olam u'olmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpo'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalal v'yitalel shemedu kudashah b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbichata v'nechemata damiran b'yolma v'yemru amen. Yehei shlomo Rabbah min shemaya v'chayei aleinu v'yalm kol Yisrael v'yemru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimeru. Amen. For our closing song, we've chosen Forever Young, and this is along with the theme of Vador Vador. I didn't want to feel like I'm getting old now, for example, for me personally. I want to feel like I'm staying forever young, and as each generation passes, hopefully they will feel part of the new generation and also feel that they are forever young. There are also many other lyrics in this song that reminded me of the Torah portion. So, and please, I hope you know it. Sing along if you can. I didn't flip the page for you. There you go.
May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others, let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. May you stay forever young. Forever young. Forever young. May you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the lights surrounding you. May you always be courageous, stand upright and be strong, and may you stay forever young. Forever young. Forever young. May you stay forever young. May your hands always be busy. May your feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of changes shift. May your heart always be joyful. May your song always be sung. May you stay forever young. Forever young. Forever young. May you stay forever motzi?
It's now motzi time, motzi time. So maybe the youngest people here should come up and hold the challah. I don't know who wants to admit to being the youngest person here.
It's going to be Shia, probably.
Probably Shia. Maybe. But Shire is busy.
There you go. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Take it.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you very much for being part of the service, and I will see you all in the Oneg, in the social hall. What's that?
All right, great job. You survived. We survived. We survived. Actually, the two songs that we practiced the least were fine. Yeah.